if you look at it, the reasoning from NAFDAC, for me, I think is quite very, very profound. Because one of the things that we must also take away from this conversation is the fact that the level of children participating in this underage, actually, because it's quite affordable for them. It's also to discourage some of all this thing. A friend of mine told me some years ago that the biggest epidemic in Nigeria now is mental sickness.
This is soup business landscape.
The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN, has urged the federal government to intervene in the renewed enforcement of a ban on sachet and small PET bottled alcoholic beverages by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. Now, the association said the action is disrupting manufacturing operations and threatening jobs across the sector. In a statement issued on Tuesday, MAN Director General Segun Ajayi-Kadir said the enforcement has created uncertainty for manufacturers due to multiple and conflicting directives. He noted that companies are struggling to plan production and distribution amid regulatory inconsistencies and sudden clampdowns. Ajayi-Kadir claimed NAFDAC had, within the last 2 weeks, moved to enforce the ban despite existing government directives and legislative resolutions restraining the agency from doing so. He warned that continued implementation could lead to factory closures, supply chain disruptions, and revenue losses. MAN called for clear policy alignment and stakeholder consultation and regulatory stability to protect investment and sustain growth in the manufacturing sector. Now, it goes without saying that before this particular ban, there was a communique that was issued that on so time, it was last year, that sachet, alcoholic sachet, this would be banned. So it's not new. Oh, yes, the federal government has put a halt, but in reality, let's look at the economic influences. Let's also look at health issues, because NAFDAC is not just saying this thing, they know the health implications. But MAN is also looking at the economic impact, job losses. Businesses might go down. How can we balance this?
The manufacturing companies can always diversify. I'm not worried about them. I believe they will survive. For these products, they are a product of a bigger industry. They have series of other products, and I believe they will survive. They will diversify. Sachet, we don't have sachet alcohol until the last 10 years. So they were producing other forms of alcohol until then. So I believe they will diversify. But I'm worried about policy somersaults from the government. We've been seeing this back and forth for a while now. It is not good. Like Man rightly said, businesses are not able to plan. People are not able to plan. So that is where the problem is. If you want to outrightly ban it, I expect NAFDAC to go through all the legal framework and get everything right from the governance side, get the nod from all the necessary agencies and through all the legal framework, and give a timeline, enough time for people to be able to adjust. And when the time comes, they need to enforce, and that is it. So we should not be seeing this back and forth. That's the only problem that I see. So I want to see government agencies do their homework well before they come out with a communique about banning or discontinue a particular policy or policy product or what service, and give enough time for businesses to adjust. And when all of this is met, when they enforce, they should enforce and see it. They should not relax due to pressure here and there, especially if you have given businesses enough time to adjust.
Doctor, what's your thought on this?
Well, what just came to my mind was the opium war between China and the United Kingdom. As we're talking about small sachets and small pets. If you look at it, the reasoning from NAFDAC, for me, I think is quite very, very profound. Because one of the things that we must also take away from this conversation is the fact that the level of children participating in this underage, actually, because it's quite affordable for them. It's also to discourage some of all this thing. A friend of mine told me some years ago that the biggest epidemic in Nigeria now is mental sickness. It's a huge epidemic. And I was driving to work this morning. My friend was telling me, and he said, you see, you mentioned this thing yesterday, how alcohol affects productivity. And I was coming out of my house this morning. I've seen this early morning, people drinking this sachet and throwing away. And I think that's also not healthy for productivity. So what they seeks to do is that, look, make it big so that when people need it, they can buy it big. But also don't forget the impact on the environment itself. We have small sachets, small pets, littering the whole place in an era that people are talking about biodegradable materials and the rest of it. It's also important that we must also consider it at that level. So beyond the fact that younger people consume, is also to see that how do we also reduce, because most of the 5-star hotels I visited, especially last year, only very few people use PET. You go to a big 5-star hotel and you're having a conference and they put bottled waters on the table. And that's also about environmental sustainability. It's not just because the fact that, yes, we're going to plan, but we must also be looking at the impact of what we're doing on society. What led to the opium war was the fact that Chinese felt that the more opium that people were consuming, the less productive they became. And therefore they said, we have to raise productivity. And the British said, we need to sell our opium. And then, of course, they enter into war, forcing the opium on the Chinese. See, these are some of the things that we see. Man wants profit, yes, are great. But we must also do it in such a way that the lives of our children are protected, and then environment is also safeguarded. And I think some of all these policies are being put in place because of the environmental sustainability debate that is ongoing, and we must find a way to take care of the human part. You see, while we're talking about underage labor, we must also be talking about underage drinking. And these things are making it as available to children who doesn't need it because they can afford it. So from that perspective, I think we must have to embrace the policy as it were. This MOU was signed in 2018, I guess. And so 2018 and now, you cannot be crying foul that it's as if it's coming, as if it was made yesterday. So that conversation has been on since 2018. Between 2018 and now, it's over how many years? That's close to 7 years. So 7 years is enough for people to adjust. But unfortunately, they also understand that there are certain people that they are targeting who are actually buying this drink. And I think that's what worries me more than the head side of this conversation from that point of view.
All right, lastly, you mentioned something quite critical that we need to look at more: underage drinking. Because these people that sell this thing, they don't care who buys it.
It's just the way you have drugs. You see, Abuki sell drugs to all manners of people because they are affordable and they are accessible. So these are things that has to be controlled, and so that we don't endanger the life of our children. Because what worries me really is the level of unproductivity and laziness that people wake up very early in the morning, and what they start to do is to drink. Remember, there's a passage in scripture when early in the morning people were speaking in tongue, and they said, these people must be drunk. And they say, it's too early in the morning to be drunken. People who drink, they drink in the evening, not in the morning. If you walk around the street of Lagos this morning, you will see a number of people drinking themselves out. And I don't know how people can contribute to economy. While we are thinking of profit, we must also think about the society at large.
Do you think there should be a law
There's already a law, but then, of course, they are enforcing.
How do we enforce it?
It's difficult
from
to enforce.
the sellers.
It's difficult to enforce. Very difficult to enforce.